free the system from what? From conditions and certain oppression, diabetes, thyroid, anything that is trying to get something out of there that shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Right? Do you know if you vomit, if you puke, if you throw up, that's the body's way of saying something was there that shouldn't be there, get it out. Right? Do you know if your kid comes home and the clothes is that's the body's way of trying to bring something from it. So when you give it that medicine to dry it up, you really help nature in freeing the system. So that's why you have to understand. So when there's violation of the laws of health, that's when you have disease. Remember, we said that disease or sickness can come of one of three reasons, alright? Here are the laws of health. What are the laws of health? Pure air, sunlight, and sleeplessness, which is temperance, rest, exercise, new stuff, Coca-Cola, nut, tea, grape juice, water, trust in divine power. These are remedies. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, most of the common illnesses need no consultation with someone, which is sit down and go over with them what their own life looks like on a daily basis. Multiple of these, which is exactly why they are feeling the way they are. Now, if you remember again during my presentation, these we said are the laws of health. These are inspired. If you violate these, are they just as bad, or is it sin to violate these? In a way, it is to break the law, not just the 10 Commandments. And we know the 10 Commandments because if you're a parent, you have heard it, or you have told your child, if you're a child, you have heard the parent saying it. If you break one, you're guilty of all. It's the same here. You're not getting enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, then guess what? You're short of having a proper diet. And because you're not getting enough rest for whatever reason, you're not getting to exercise. And because you're not getting to exercise, you're not getting pure air, you're not getting sunlight. You're like me, you work in the office, you have to make a conscious decision to say, I am going to get outside one time a day. Our senior step, is temperance. Now, is there any or is there anyone who, okay? This is what I remember in Pathfinder. It is the moderate use of that which is good and abstaining from that which is bad. So even if it's good, you still have to take it in moderation. So even those out there, pardon me? Why did I choose that? That is not my word. That's the writing exactly as it's given in inspired writing. That's exactly, if you go to the reference Ministry of Healing and you look it up, that's exactly how it was given to the author, Ellen G. White. And that's exactly how we take it. We don't want to change God's word at all. I know that there are newer versions of the Bible or what have you. I stick with exactly as it is. Amen? All right, so let's move on to other things here. Okay. All right, but I guess at this point, I will give it over to my wife, Michelle. She is going to go ahead and take you into the other aspect of the presentation. And we will tag team so that you can get the best of both of us, okay? Sounds good? Okay.
Okay, good evening everyone again. I'm so happy to see the youths here because while the youths may not have high blood pressure, their parents might. And so half of the time it's good if your kids know what to do so they can help you out. Sometimes people feel so weak with their blood pressure getting too low or too high that it's a good thing their kids are around and know what to do. And I mean, even if you're going to call 911, it's good to know the things you can do in between. Okay? So if you have children around, make sure they are in here. Make sure your entire family is equipped so that you will get the help you need if you ever need it. So the youths that are here, welcome. And we are glad that you have chosen to learn more how you can help mom, dad, grandma, aunties as you even now and as you grow older. We are at this pill. Has anybody ever seen this pill? The hydrochlorothiazide, better known as the water pill. What is it known for? It makes you do what? Run to the restroom, run to the bathroom. And do you know, while it is a water pill, we're going to look at some of the side effects. You're taking it because you have high blood pressure. You may have been swelling or so forth, so they gave you the pill. So, does this water pill have any side effects? Oh yes, the water pill has so many side effects that you really need to read all the paper that the pharmacy gives you. But the doctors know they have tons of side effects, and they let you know, hey, we can't help it if it has the side effects, but at least it'll take the water out. But by God's grace, by the time we're done this evening, you will have a plan for your life with the only side effects being blessings. Amen? All right. So we're looking at this water pill, and some of the severe ones, I'm looking at this pill will cause high blood sugar. Now they can call it diabetes, but they put high blood sugar. That's, if they put diabetes there, would you want it? No. So they're toning down the language so that you are not alarmed. But you're taking this pill because you have high blood pressure. Now you are learning that you can get diabetes from the pill. And this is not from me, this is WebMD, which is an official source of medication, any contraindication or any type of problem, or just giving you all the information about any and every medication. So this is an objective source. You can Google it even. High blood sugar, even high blood pressure that will drop upon standing. Sun sensitivity, that's why sometimes you cannot even be in the sun. It's not that something is wrong with you, but the medication is causing you to be unable to tolerate the sun. Loss of appetite. Some people, sometimes when their blood pressure gets up, they even throw up. But this medication will also cause you to throw up, have stomach cramps, sexual problems, and that's something a lot of the men come to the clinics about. Nearsightedness, allergic reaction causing inflammation, hepatitis, and that's just a few. Looking at some others, kidney disease, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, and that's one of the huge reactive disorders. Skin rash with sloughing, even lupus. Can you believe you have high blood pressure, and now because you're taking the medication given to you, you can end up with lupus, diabetes. You can pretty much, as you go down, you are seeing some life-altering diseases that can end your life just as severely as the high blood pressure. That is not God's plan for us. What is hypertension? It is a chronic medical condition where the blood pressure in the arteries is elevated. We're going to go through what makes the pressure increase. The heart has to work even harder to get the blood through the blood vessels. The blood pressure, we know, has two parts. They always tell you the top number and the bottom number, right? And the top number is the force of the blood in the arteries as the muscle is contracting. You know, as it's squeezing, this is the force of the blood. It measures the force of the blood. And as it squeezes, it relaxes, that's the bottom number. It's the force again when the muscles, the heart muscle is relaxing in between the beats. Now, a systolic blood pressure, we know if you go to the doctor and 2 times or more, you have a reading of 140/90 or above, they can actually diagnose you as being hypertensive. These are some of the other values, and now we've heard that they have reduced it from 140 to now 130. So what does that mean? Now that it's no longer 140/90, it's now 130. What does that mean? More people are going to be in that diagnosis, in that range now. So even more, a greater number of people will be said to have high blood pressure.
So, I want to make sure that you understand that. If you're a fisherman and you're using a net that's only this big, but there are many fishes out there, you're only going to catch that many, right? But if you increase your range and get a bigger net, you're going to catch more fish, right? By changing the number, so instead of what's considered high would have been 140/90 within that range. Few people would have been high, but because they decided we're going to lower that number to 130, now it's in the pre-hypertensive. So now you have more individuals that are going to now be in that net that the doctor is going to say, you need to go on medication. Do you understand that?
And so no longer would 130 be pre, it's actually going to become now officially hypertensive. I saw a hand in the back. Sure.
The new ACC and AHA guideline. I just want to make sure that we are saying from a holistic point. The reason for it being dropped from 140 to 130 was not just to catch a lot of people. Really have the propensity to get heart attacks, strokes, to now take it seriously, because the first main change that happened in the therapeutics was not adding more medication, but was artificial intervention.
Thank you so much, my brother. This may be the initial, what is done. There are many physicians who, upon having this, and this may be awareness, like he said, maybe people would pay more attention to it. But we as God's people, we do have a message. We have physicians on our team. We have nurses on our team. God's message here encompasses everybody in his church. This health message does not go against doctors, because they are called to be medical missionaries. So we are not here saying you don't need your doctor. We are not here saying, oh, you don't have to go see anybody. However, if we would hearken to these remedies that we were given, we would not need to see a doctor any more sooner than we would need a lawyer. Remember that? That was a straight quote from the Spirit of Prophecy. You need not see need of a physician any more sooner than you need a lawyer. Can you imagine that? How many of us had needed to run to the lawyer once a month? Anybody? Need of a lawyer once a month? No. God's health plan is so rich that as we educate ourselves on the way the Lord has for us, we should not need to go to a doctor any more sooner than you have gone to a lawyer, which means it's a rare occasion. Does it mean you never need a doctor? No, but it should not be a total dependence on I have to go to the doctor in order to survive. Okay? So like the brother said, we are all in this together. You know that Dr. Kellogg worked along with Sister White. And when he could not treat a case, he would say, Sister White, has the Lord given you any light? And the Lord would give her a light speedily that would bring about blessings and results for the patients. So God desires that we all work together. So I don't want anybody taking away that we're trying to say, this is bad, this is bad. We are not saying, we are told that medicine does not cure. Amen? If medicine cured, then the first time you took it, you would be cured, wouldn't you? That's not how it works. It may help with some of the symptoms, but it does not cure. And that is straight from, again, the inspired writings. So let's go back onto the symptoms. We hear all the time that high blood pressure is a silent killer. Is it really silent? We have so many symptoms that we see here, and many of you experience them. The headaches, the lightheadedness, the dizziness. Some people throw up when their blood pressure elevates. The swelling, the palpitations, the pains, the urine, as you notice, the lower back pains, changes in the urine and color and smell, even the bowels. All these are telling you something is going wrong. Remember, like we said last time, or some of you may not remember because you weren't here, but when the headache is coming on, it is an effort of nature trying to tell you that something is happening. Headaches are not normal occurrences. A headache means something is happening inside. So the body is getting your attention by causing the headache to occur. So you would pay attention and start going, did I drink some water? Did I drink any water today? What time did I go to bed? It makes you start thinking as to what didn't I do? What's bringing this on? In the clinics where we are with the children, most times if they come to me and have a headache, if they, right away they get some water, most times it's gone. If they have a persistent headache, most times it's a fever. The body is trying to say something is happening. So to say it's a silent killer is not true because we have symptoms. But are we paying attention? Are we listening? Are we tuning in? People who are hypertensive are 3 times more likely to have a heart attack, 5 times more likely to develop heart failure, and 8 times more likely to suffer a stroke than people with normal blood pressure. So it makes you more susceptible to other things, and that's why we have to, it's the devil's plan for us to be sick, brethren, and so we have to be able to follow God's plan to regain health. High blood pressure also raises your risk for several of these others, the top one being diabetes, just calling off some, congestive heart failure, aneurysms, kidney failure, mental decline, atherosclerosis. Excessive, what is the hypertension? It is the excessive contraction or stiffening of the artery walls that we said cause the pressure in the arteries to elevate, to become elevated, to become high. Inflammation also in the arteries make the pressure increase as well. And high cholesterol is also another factor that increases the pressure in our bodies, in the arteries, and in our bodies. But do you know What causes this inflammation? You go to the doctor and you hear that you have so much inflammation in your body. What's causing the inflammation? How do you get inflamed? What's inflaming us? Well, wheat products causes an excess in the small, low-density lipoprotein, as we used to see the LDL particles. The gliadin protein in gluten causes it, so you're seeing a lot of wheat, protein, gluten, inflaming, causing inflammation in the arteries and the narrowing of the arteries. Also sugar. Did you know that sugar causes inflammation? So think about the sweets. Think about even all the little desserts that we love, that we eat from time to time, or sometimes more time than we should, causing inflammation. This is also, because many times you think, I have high blood pressure because everybody in my family has high blood pressure. That might be a factor, but lifestyle, we know, genetics may cause you to be predisposed, but if you choose to live differently, you don't have to have it. The devil is wanting us to believe that because my grandmother had high blood pressure, my grandfather had high blood pressure, my mother had high blood pressure, then I have no choice. I have to have high blood pressure. Is that true? No, it is not. Otherwise, there will be nothing you can ever do. You're gonna know by the time you're born what's gonna kill you, if that's the case. But thank God we have a God who is so just and fair that as you choose to live a life that is different, that's healthy, more wholesome, as we're gonna get into, you do not have to have any of these diseases that he put upon the Egyptians, as we were promised. If we would diligently hearken to his voice and obey his statutes, he will cause none of these diseases upon us. Meat also contains and causes inflammation. There's high sodium levels in it, the hypoxanthine, cholesterol in meat. We talked about cholesterol the last time. What has cholesterol? Anything? Does anybody remember what we had said about cholesterol? And we did a little bit before we ended. Anything that has a face or a mother has cholesterol. And that's how we use something quick and easy to remember. So as you're eating, anything that has a face or a mother has cholesterol. So, does a chicken have cholesterol? It has a face and a mother, so it has cholesterol. Does a mango have cholesterol? Does a mango have a face or a mother? No, so there's no cholesterol there. So this is how you remember what raises some of the cholesterol, like us eating a whole lot of stuff with cholesterol, and that's just one way. We have given something quick, easy, and even funny to make you think twice. What about goat? Would we have cholesterol? Okay. I'm not going to torture you by calling out all the delicious stuff you've been eating and asking you if they have a face or a mother, right? I know that you know enough now to determine if it has a face and a mother, it has cholesterol and has the ability to cause inflammation in your body. Okay? The homocysteine level, I know that's a test you can do to check for inflammation in your body. Your doctors, if you're already having heart problems, may already be checking that whenever you go in. But these are some of the things that are causing us to be inflamed. Hormonal imbalance, kidney function, the atherosclerosis in the renal artery, so we're talking about the kidney area, and the narrowing of the arteries in those areas. And that's why a lot of people who have high blood pressure and are, chronically hypertensive, over time, they too develop kidney problems. And so, again, regulating the blood pressure. So if your kidney is bad, you're going to have problems regulating the blood pressure. And your blood pressure is up because we have narrowing vicious cycle. One is feeding into the other. And so we hope that we'll be able to end that vicious cycle. The adrenal gland function declines because, again, sometimes tumor growths on the adrenal gland, and the adrenal gland helps to control all that, the stress, the blood sugar, the cholesterol. All these things are controlled here in this gland, causes inflammation here. The tumors on these glands cause inflammation again in the arteries. Diabetes, like we mentioned before, and heredity. You've been predisposed to having these conditions, meaning that you're already weak in this area. What we do, we grow up eating the food our parents cook. You grow up learning how to cook the same food. So you're eating the same way. It's cultural, but I think in every household, this is how it's always going to be. We all eat what we were taught to eat. We cook the same foods. It's part of who we are. So many times, these diseases thank you. I couldn't hear. If we continue eating the same way, we too will get the same high blood pressure, diabetes, or so forth that our parents may have gotten. We're seeing here inadequate sleep causes inflammation. And you're wondering, what does sleep have to do with my high blood pressure? During the time that we're sleeping, our body is doing so many different functions, repairing the body and helping to restore. When you hit that power button on your computer to shut it down, you see the screen sometimes just defragmenting and pulling things together. When you reboot it in the morning, it takes a little while as all the systems are being checked. It's the same way when we sleep. If we're not sleeping, do you know, and I'm wondering if I have the study here, over time, people who go to bed continually or later than 10:30 every night, over time, there was a study I read that showed that over time, they too develop high blood pressure and diabetes. And this is in healthy people. This is not people who are already diabetic or hypertensive, just because they were neglecting sleep. And so sleep is very, very important, and that's a whole other presentation that I'm not even going to be able to go into today, but we will get during the training. It's very important that we sleep. Competitive sports and activities, you know, when you watch the football game, your blood pressure goes off the roof. You get excited, you get upset, the blood pressure again. Those things are situational. And sedentary lifestyle, did you know by sitting a lot, not moving a lot, that also feeds into the high blood pressure? So just by reading these things that cause it, like the quotation said, the cure is in the cause. Just by reading some of these things that cause it, by undoing these things, you're going to help to reverse it. So if we're saying that inadequate sleep causes inflammation, which leads to high blood pressure, then what can you do to decrease your inflammation? I heard it? Get rest. Go to sleep. If this is what's causing it, then by undoing the cause, we are going to get the cure. We're saying, what else are we saying? Sedentary lifestyle was another one. If sitting around is going to feed into your inflammation, what should we do? Move. Exercise. If you hadn't been walking to the mailbox, walk to the mailbox. If that's the only, as far as you can go, do it. But because you were not doing it, anything that you now start to do will affect the body in a positive way. Okay? And I need for you to really try God. He is saying these are the true remedies. So try Him. Do it. And you say, Lord, I'm doing these things because you said that if I do it, you're going to cause none of these diseases to come upon me. So call God out and His promise. they are sure. So try God. Coffee, caffeine. People say, I don't drink coffee. But do you know there are some sodas that have caffeine? Do you know that, right? There are some sodas that have, the chocolate. Those beautiful Valentine's Day chocolates. Do you know they have caffeine? Even some of the cocoa tea. The cocoa has a caffeine. It has a natural caffeine in it. We grew up with cocoa plantation and didn't even know that cocoa, we used to mash that cocoa and roll it and make balls. And we would grew up drinking it every now and again. It was a special drink. And as we started learning and reading and studying, we had a lady come to our home and we were telling her about the cocoa. They grew up in the Caribbean as well, so they also were familiar with the cocoa. And this is the actual raw cocoa off of the cocoa tree that you just took the pods out and you ground, and you can actually use it to put in tea. And so it's as natural as it gets, right? There's no processing, nothing. But within the cocoa, naturally, there was some caffeine. It acted and reacted in the body just like the caffeine does. We have to be so diligent as to what we put into our bodies. We didn't know, but when we found out and researched further, we realized that we were in that way putting caffeine into our bodies. The coffee study also shows that 1 cup of coffee can elevate the blood pressure by 5 to 6 millimeters of mercury. 1 cup. And I know that because of who we are, we're not worried about coffee. But if we're used to drinking a lot of caffeinated drinks, the fact that when you stop drinking that Mountain Dew, you get a headache. You know it's a caffeine headache. You're getting that pain from you slowing down and no longer drinking it. So we have to remember, even that in those forms can also affect us, and those chocolates. But we have something else you can use instead of chocolate. Does anybody know what we can use? There's another sauce. It looks like chocolate. You may have seen it in a lot of vegetarian desserts. Nutella? I'm sorry? Nutella? No, not Nutella. Carob now, and carob has a lot of nutritive value as well. You can use carob to replace where you would have used chocolate. So when we make hot chocolate in my home, in our home, when it's cold, we use carob. And so instead of it rubbing our bodies and causing inflammation in our bodies as caffeine would in the chocolate, we use the carob. Okay, and as we start doing and working with you guys, doing cooking demonstrations and so forth, you too will be able to use these healthier substitutions in your life. This gentleman here, he was a 27-year-old chef, and this is a true story. He had a damaged heart, and this is a 27-year-old guy. And he could barely walk a reasonable distance. He was a chef doing 2 jobs. He had, regular diet. He was not vegetarian, so he did eat meats and other things. He also drank a lot of energy drinks. Do you know now people are realizing those energy drinks are causing palpitations and heart problems? I had a co-worker who went to the gym and they had to call the ambulance for him. When he got to the hospital after they assessed him and spoke, trying to find out once, because he was an otherwise healthy guy. Came to find out he was drinking the Monster drinks like water. He was working 2 jobs and he felt like he needed the energy to get to the next job. That also, the caffeine also was messing up, causing the palpitations. Back to the chef. He too was doing this for that quick pickup of energy he needed. And a friend of ours worked with him. And this young man, he put him on a plan where he removed all the stuff we spoke about that caused the inflammation, Anything with a face and a mother, he removed. Because you're working all around an inflammation, going to bed, what else did we say? Exercising. He couldn't exercise a lot, but wherever he could walk to, he started walking. And in 2 weeks' time, this young man was able to walk continually for an hour. He didn't take any medication. All he did was to start applying the natural remedies that we discussed earlier, and including cleaning up his diet, getting to bed, drinking more water, taking fresh air, and just walking as far as he could walk. And in 2 weeks, he was able to walk continuously for an hour. And within the 3rd week, when he visited his doctor for his checkup, because they were trying to schedule him for surgery, his condition had been reversed. And that's something else we have too, that Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn had also shown, that in 3 weeks they were able to completely reverse, clean up a blocked artery. And we have the pictures and so forth. Again, as we go into the trainings, you are going to be able to see for yourself and be able to really in more detail see how valuable diet is in our lives. What we put into our bodies would cause good blood. Good blood, to have good circulation, you need good blood. What forms good blood? Good food. So we have to know what to put into our bodies, and we are going to get to that today, because we want you to leave here knowing what to put in. Alcohol, we're not worried about alcohol. We don't drink here. We spoke about the soft drinks and some other stimulating drinks or foods, the tobacco. But remember, many times as we learn, we're able to share with others. You may not have a tobacco problem, but you may know somebody with it. You may not be smoking, but you'll be able to help someone who is. And smoking is one of those things that I think across the board, it makes any illness worse. So anybody who is smoking, definitely to get a handle on that, that is a whole lot more inflammation just caused by the smoking. Meat, as we said before, flesh, because some people say, I don't eat meat, I eat flesh. What is flesh? Meat, right? But some people say, I don't eat meat, I just eat flesh. Well, their flesh is fish. So they say, I don't eat meat, I eat fish. But does the fish have a face or a mother? So the fish has? It does. It does have cholesterol. And if it has cholesterol, it increases inflammation in our bodies. Some of these spices that I grew up using, the peppers, the nutmegs, the cinnamon, the clove. Now, some of these things like cinnamon, we know for diabetics, and the cinnamon, well, even for high blood pressure, the cinnamon actually helps to decrease their blood pressure when taken medicinally. And there's a difference between taking something as a medicine and taking something every morning when you wake up. Are we clear on that? Medicinally. Do we know that Sister White had coffee? Does anybody know Sister White drank coffee? Yes, but isn't it the same Sister White that was given this word for us, that coffee is not something for us to drink? Okay, Sister White was going across a lake on a boat, and she got some motion sickness, and she had coffee and drank some coffee. This is what she did then. Probably if she had other options available, given. But the prophetess told us she drank coffee at that time for her nausea. She goes on to say, as a way of living, we should not drink coffee. So medicinally, the prophetess used coffee right then and there, but in her home, she never had coffee and never wanted coffee. Remember, in her day, you know, if you read her story, she ate meat so much because she felt like if she didn't get it, she wouldn't have any energy. Did you know that about Sister White? Sister White was a meat mouth. Sister White, she felt like, oh, fruits and vegetables won't give me enough energy. And she was already frail. And so she needed the meat, or so she thought, to give her the energy. But as the health message came to her, she eventually realized then that she did not need it, and she began following God's way. Sister White grew up eating her white bread and butter. Did you know when Sister White learned that she was not to use again? The first time they made wheat bread and brought it to the prophetess, she couldn't do it. You know it tastes different, right? Doesn't white pasta taste different from the wheat? Yes. And the kids go, oh, I don't like this brown one. Bring the other one. Same way with Sister White. She showed her struggles, and learning God's way, she was able to, only by the grace of God, make all these changes in her own life. So she knows how we feel when we read the things and we're struggling with them and going, you sure? Lord, is this necessary? She lived those same struggles. That lady came to the table and pushed away for 2 days, and because she couldn't eat the wheat bread, until finally she said, stomach, there will be no food for you until you eat the bread. And on the 3rd day she ate. Isn't that something? So that's what I love as I read about her and her struggles. It really helped me and helped us as we made changes as well. And we know that God, again, He blessed her from being as frail as she was. It was only God that allowed her to live to be so old and then die, falling and then dying. But we know that, again, the prophetess followed the word of God. Back to the spices. We love the hot peppers, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the clove. But we are told that stimulating foods is what we're calling the spices, irritate the stomach. And that's something you're going to see here again. Condiments, anything that contains vinegar, increases inflammation in our bodies. Well, what has vinegar in it? Ketchup, mustard, bread. Vinegar is in salad dressing. Vinegar is in so many things. But do you know you can replace the vinegar? What can you use instead of vinegar? Does anybody know? Because I know some of you are already doing this. Lemon juice. Lemon juice. And lemon is more acidic than vinegar. On the pH scale, lemon juice is more acidic than vinegar. So when people are pickling things and putting vinegar, you can substitute, use lemon juice instead of vinegar. And we know that there were benefits in using lemon juice. And we're going to get to that. I touched briefly on the homocysteine level, so I'm not going to stay on it. I want to get to the juicy part. Low potassium is also another reason. Potassium is necessary for the heart, the kidneys, and other organs to work normally. It helps balance the amount of sodium in your cells. The sodium and the potassium work together, and you're going to see that as well. If you don't get enough of the sodium, you can start to accumulate too much sodium in your blood. And we're going to see more about that part as we get to it. How can we get this potassium? And we do have the molasses. Blackstrap molasses is the unsulfured blackstrap molasses. How many of you have ever had molasses before? I see my daughter holding up her hand. Anybody else? Anybody? Okay, so some of you have tried it. It is loaded with wonderful, it's good for iron, it's good for calcium, and here we're seeing it's another potassium-rich food. This one we just brought for you to see because it's available out there in your health food stores. Anybody, again, with heart problem, high blood pressure problem, you need to make sure, once you've done your blood work and so forth, these we're giving you are natural sources that will assimilate or be accepted in your body quickly. easily. Not all sources enter the body easily. That's why we are told to let food be your medicine. Because you eat, and if we put good food, good nutrients in our bodies, the body now is able to readily let it enter the cells and use it. Michael is going to tell us about the salt.
Okay, so you've heard quite a bit of information so far, and we want to talk about salt. Now, I know most individuals that are diagnosed as high blood pressure, one of the things that you're told is that you need to cut out the salt in your diet. Have you heard that before? Cut out the salt, okay? You know, before we delve too much into it, let me say something else. The scripture tells us that out of the heart flows the issues of life. Issues of life. What flows out of the heart? Literally. Blood. So life is in the blood. So everyone that actually have a heart should be here this evening, because that's what's needed in order for us to sustain life as well. Blood needs to flow. When blood is not flowing because it's thick, that in itself causes high blood pressure, right? Because the pump is having to push harder. Could you imagine that this, as you leave this evening, you're heading home and you see a building on fire and you call, and the firemen come and off their truck they're rolling out with garden hoses, but they're connected to the fire hydrant and they're trying to put the fire out with a garden hose, but it's connected to a fire hydrant, the heart, and it's pushing a lot. What is going to happen? It's too much pressure for that small hose, right? So when the arteries are blocked, the heart has to work harder to get the blood to where it needs to, which is all the way through the body. It's pushing harder. So then, what do you need? A blood thinner, right? You need to thin the blood. Well, I'm here to tell you of a blood thinner that is not rat poison, that has no negative side effects, that each one of us actually partake of every day, some more than others, but we all should in a good amount. What do you think that blood thinner is? Say it again. Say it again. Water. Water is that blood thinner that I'm talking about. So if you are drinking water, but not just drinking adequate water, drinking it in the right way. So I remember the last month I talked with a brother and I told him about water. And he said, well, I do drink my water. I said, that's good. But let me ask you, how do you drink your water? He goes, well, most times I have a big bottle and I drink it down. And I said, that's not good. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit for you. Do we lose water throughout the day? Give me some of the forms by which we lose water. Sweat, urinating, crying. I hope you don't do much of that. But if you have to, you have to. What else? Breathing. Very good. Speaking. You are losing water, yes. Did you know you lose water through breathing, like the sister said? Okay. So, typical loss of water, if you look it all up, it's about 2.5 liters a day. So you need to be replacing that by taking in 2.5 liters just about every day. You can get your water from eating your fruits, your vegetables. You get about half that liter. The rest of it, you will only get by literally drinking water. And I'm not talking about drinking soda or any type of juice or anything else. Drinking straight water. Okay? So let's go through a quick program how you can actually get your water in for the day. So if you wake, say about 5 o'clock in the morning, a good practice is to have a glass of water right on your nightstand before you go to sleep. So when you wake in the morning and you're aroused into consciousness and you say, thank you, Lord, you then get up and you reach for that glass and you drink a half a glass. Right there and then. Now, what you can do if you really want an additional benefit is to go ahead and get into the kitchen and get that glass of water and make it warm water, not hot water, warm water, and then squeeze half a lemon in it. Because what that will do when you drink it, it's like it's flushing, because throughout the night, the liver is doing such great work in detoxing and moving stuff away from your body that was collected throughout the day. So when you drink that lemon water, it's a flush. As soon as you run to the bathroom, out it goes, okay? So you drink that glass of water, then you finish your devotion, you have another glass. And then you may get into a little bit of exercise, you know, deep breathing, what have you. And then you're ready for breakfast. At least 30 minutes before the breakfast is when you had your last water. You finish breakfast, and you throughout your day, 2 hours after, an hour and a half to 2 hours after every meal is when you should take any other liquid. You shouldn't be doing liquids while you're eating. If anyone is eating while they're drinking, if anyone is drinking while you're eating, that in itself is an indicator of dehydration. Not only that, by doing that, you are actually diminishing the benefits of the body to break down the very food that you're eating. You know, I know that we most times feel like when we eat is to be able to say, yes, I feel full. But that's not why we eat. We eat, we consume food so that we can have life, sustain life. And if we want good life, then we want to eat the food that are good. And we want to eat it in its right form and right way, okay? So if you are eating and drinking, digestion starts where? Digestion starts where? In your mouth. What's in your mouth when you're speaking that you have to swallow every so often? Saliva. Saliva is constitutes of what? Water. So if someone has dry mouth, check and see how much water they're drinking. If someone is not crying, they have dry eyes, tears are not there, see how much water they're getting in. So anyhow, if you are drinking a couple of bites of lemon juice or something, you have actually diluted, the enzyme in the saliva that's supposed to break down the food. Now, I love bread. Bread, carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is actually absorbed in the mouth. That's where it starts. So if you are drinking and eating at the same time, you are diminishing the ability for the body to truly break down the food. So now that food goes down into the esophagus and follow all the way through into the stomach, and it didn't get the enzymes that it needs to break down. And if it's protein, it's sitting in the stomach, but the enzymes are not yet to break it down because you diluted it with water. So know what happens? That food sits in the stomach even longer than it should, trying to get what it needs to get to sustain your life. Do you know that there are studies done in UGPine that shows that food, typically a meal, should not stay in the stomach more than 4 hours. 2 to 4 hours is when the stomach completely empties itself. But there are practices that we engage ourselves in that have shown that food, breakfast, when they x-ray the stomach, 8 hours after, breakfast was still in the stomach. And some people, they x-ray a day after, and the breakfast from the last morning was still in the stomach. Residual breakfast, I should say, not all of it. Because of practices that we engage ourselves in. So, drinking the water, the way that I just showed you, and you don't want to gulp your water. Let me say it again. You drink some when you wake in the morning. You want to drink 30 minutes before your meal. And then you don't want to have nothing more to drink at least an hour and a half after the meal. Because again, if that liquid is in there, liquid is absorbed into the body faster than solids. And the liquid has to be completely out so that the solids can get broken down as it should. But you don't want to do that because again, you're defeating the enzymes breaking down the very food to give you the nutrients. So okay, drinking the water shouldn't be a gulp. If you are so thirsty that you take that regular bottle of water and you just put it to your head and you drink, and it's empty, you say, yes, I needed that. Yeah, you needed it. But what you just did, and then a few minutes after, I need to run to the bathroom. Because it's just going to run right through you. If you take that same water and take mouthfuls at a time every 10 minutes, the cells will absorb all of it if the right conditions exist. Okay? If you ladies or any one of you like plants, if you leave for a week and didn't water the plant that's in your kitchen area, and then you come back and you touch the soil and it's dry, and you fill a big container of water and just pour it on it, all that water is going to stay in the soil. It's going to run right through the soil and right out. But if you were to give that same plant, because you saw that it's dry, and you decide, well, I'm just going to give it a small teacup of water now, then come back the next hour and give it a small teacup, it's going to absorb all the water. That's the same concept with your body if you take the water in small amounts. Does that make sense? Okay. So now we're talking about the blood thinners. We've done with that. So let's look at salt in itself. Salt in its purest state from the sea has 80 plus trace minerals in it. 80 plus minerals. Okay? The biggest ones being sodium, which is about 30%. Okay? About 30% of it is sodium. But do you know what you are getting in the store? The white salt, the molten salt, the table salt, it only has 2 minerals in it. Sodium and chloride. Sodium and chloride. That's the only 2 in it. But you, just like you eat your fruits, your vegetables, you want to eat it in its whole form, whole foods, in its whole state, because your body needs it. The sea salt is very much close to the consistency of the blood in our system based on the nutrients and minerals. At one point, they would actually have used, way back, they will use the sea salt for infusion. That's the word I was looking for, yes. Because of the minerals in it. So the table salt only has 2, sodium chloride. If you take those and inject sodium chloride into someone, it is lethal. It will actually kill them. So that brings us to the pink Himalaya salt. Salt is essential in the blood. Salt is 60% of people who have high blood pressure do not use salt because the doctor tells you, cut out the salt. So let's look at it. This is what happens with the salt. Every cell in your body needs the sodium. Every cell in your body needs the water. Okay? Pink Himalaya salt. Has anyone heard about pink Himalaya salt? Or the Celtic salt? Anyone else? Okay, we have some up here actually. It's right in here. You can pass it around and see. The pink Himalaya salt, they are rich in magnesium. And magnesium is a water-hungry nutrient, mineral. Magnesium is, okay? In fact, magnesium is what carries water into the cell. So I remember there was an earlier slide showing that the hypertension prescribed drug could also lead to low magnesium count. So if you're low in magnesium, the water is not getting into the cells as it should. Okay, because magnesium is what carries water into each one of those cells. Alright? So let's look at this. There is a sodium-potassium pump that's in the cell membrane of every cell. So Right above here, this is the outside of the cell, and this is inside the cell. So sodium resides on the outside of the cell. Okay? The sodium particles, they reside out there. Potassium inside. And what is happening, this pump, this is the pump right here on every cell. It operates like this. It opens up like that. Okay? That's how it works. When the pump opens up, sodium pump, it allows 3 sodium ions to go in. Okay? And these, when it opens up, these are the 3 ions that go in. And then when it closes up, the potassium, so the sodium comes in when it opens up on that end, and then when it opens up like this, it releases the sodium into the cell. The potassium now, which is the K right here, when it opens up that way, they go in, so that when the pump opens this way, they come out. Okay? So sodium on the outside, potassium on the inside, and they keep each other at balance. So if an individual is not getting sodium as they should, which means on the outside here, the sodium count is low, the potassium count is going to start to increase. Okay? And when that happens, the cell actually swells. And that swelling of the cell is high blood pressure. On the reverse as well, if there is more sodium and not much potassium, so they're low in potassium, the same thing happens. There is so much buildup of sodium that the cell will now swell again, causing high blood pressure. Okay? Which is also increasing inflammation and other conditions. But does that seem to be clear what I'm saying there? So if you are hypertensive and you are told cut out the salt in your diet, then what you are doing is just causing yourself to keep that high blood pressure going. By taking the pink Himalayan salt, it has all the other trace nutrients that you need, minerals in it. It's a much more healthy salt in its true form. So you get the magnesium and other nutrients that you need from taking salt. Is that clear there, Sims? You understand what I'm saying? Okay? And we showed you some of the foods that you can take for potassium. Your bananas, your blackstrap molasses. And that blackstrap molasses, I love to just take a spoon of it and take it in. Okay? So it's important to have salt in your body. At one time, this is Sister Ellen G. White, she's saying a doctor tried to teach our family to cook according to health reform as he viewed it, without salt or anything else to season the food. And she was just talking about her own experience here when she was told. The use of some salt always have, because from the light given by God, this materials is actually essential for the blood. Not only, I don't have to even go that far. You know that your body constitutes of a lot of salt. Next to water, sodium is the next highest nutrient in your body. The most abundant one in your body, next to water. Okay? If you cry, like I said, and you taste your tears, it tastes how? Okay? If you sweat, it tastes how? Okay? Ever try tasting your urine? Yes. And it is? A baby that's in the womb is surrounded by liquid. That liquid is? It is salt as well. So we are actually, again, we are built of mostly that sodium element, okay? So, do you have enough salt in your body? There's a book that's called Salt Your Way to Health, because it's been actively using and recommending salt in my practice for 20 years. This is Dr. David Bronstein talking about the benefit of salt. He said, I can tell you unequivocally, the vast majority of patients are actually salt deficient. So it's not that you weren't eating salt in your diet, but you were having the salt that wasn't putting in all the nutrients. You were having the table salt, which is just sodium and chloride. Okay? Here again, the same doctor, he's telling us that the studies clearly show that if you limit salt in your diet, cholesterol levels go up, triglyceride levels go up, insulin levels go up. Do you see how important the salt is? So how could you be told eliminate salt from your diet? I hope you're getting this and understanding. I find that the majority of my hypertensive patients do better when they eat the right kind of salt. The right kind of salt, which is unrefined salt. Reintroduce salt back into their diet and get their salt levels back up. That's what Dr. David Bronstein had to say about salt himself. If you have kidney failure, these patients cannot eliminate some of the sodium in their diet. They may need to limit salt, but if they have severe congestive heart failure associated with some kidney failure, they may need to limit salt. And if there is a salt-sensitive individual out there, they may need to limit salt. So those are the 3 times that he recommends that you should limit salt. Other than that, salt needs to be part of your, but not in, what do we say abstemiousness is? In moderation. In moderation, okay? All right. So I think I've given you plenty on salt. So I wouldn't continue to give, but these are just sources of how beneficial salt is to your body. Okay? So the pink Himalayan salt is a fine-grained sea salt, and as I mentioned before, it contains 80 plus of the trace minerals in it. So using the Himalayan salt will help to stabilize and regulate heartbeat, regulates your blood pressure, extracts excess acidity, balances the sugar levels, increase conductivity in the nerve cell. These are other benefits. It clears up congestion of the sinus, it sharpens vital brain functions. Okay? And still some more. Strong libidos or... There you go. She said better, and their nutrients are absorbed better than in the body. Have you ever sat down to eat with anyone and before they even taste the food, they say, where's the salt? And they grab it and they just shake on it. They haven't tasted the food yet, but they ask, where's the salt? Have you ever had anyone eating next to you like that? That's because the salt have actually destroyed the taste buds so much that they can't really detect good food, and they're just, because of, or is it bad habit as well? Okay? When you cook with this pink Himalayan salt, and you know, the last time we were here when we made the almond milk, I showed you that we put a little bit to enhance this. You probably don't need to use some of the other seasonings that we like to use. Okay? So, iodine deficiency can cause high blood pressure as well. And I'm going to hand it over now to Michelle to finish up. But before I do that, I'm going to ask everyone to just stand, because we've been sitting now for a good 45 hours or more. So let's just stand, just to give the body a different activity than the sitting. Okay? Very good, very good.
Did everyone see it? Somebody taste the salt. The bottle looked a little less than when it left. So tell us, report back. How did it taste? We can't hear. Does anybody want to share how the salt tasted? It tastes.
Okay, the sister in yellow, she was saying, so you tasted it, right? Okay, let me hear what you said.
Put it extra salt. Be like taste salt.
just a little. Okay. All right. Anyone else that tasted it because it came back open? Yes, brother.
Adi, what do you want to say? Yes, I did. Yeah, it tastes well. It tastes nice. More salty, yes.
It's still in your mouth. Okay. You use less of it, and you get more benefit. Okay, amen? And I forgot to tell you, remember that I said magnesium is what pulls the water into your cells. Magnesium. Okay? Pink Himalayan salt, and there's another one called the Celtic salt. They are magnesium hungry. One of the sure ways to make sure you can sit as you're ready. One of the sure ways to make sure that your cells are okay. We're getting a lot of chit-chattering. My mom used to tell me that it's very, very difficult to listen and speak at the same time. And God gave us 1 more 2 years because He wants us to do more listening than. So if you want to listen, you can't be speaking. Okay? With the magnesium being a water-hungry element, it pulls the water in. Celtic salt and pink Himalayan salt, if you were to actually take a little bit of that salt and just put it under your tongue before you drink your glass of water, because of the magnesium in the salt, and then you drink the water, it will help carry that water straight into the cells to hydrate the cells. So that's one of the benefits of the salt as well, why you said it tastes so salty and it's still in your mouth. So it's very good from that standpoint.
Okay. Because I know I'm seeing people, this is one thing I do want to mention with the iodine. There was a study done with over 6,000 patients. They were tested, and it was found that over 96% of these people were deficient in iodine. And that's the big thing we always hear about with salt. Make sure your salt has iodine. The iodine is to do what? What's the big deal with the iodine? I'm sorry? Thyroid. Yes. Yes. That's the big thing about the salt. And that is also and the thyroid is a master gland. It helps to control so many functions in our bodies. One of the sources, and the pink Himalayan salt does have the iodine as well as the Celtic salt. So that's why we're encouraging you, as you use it, people with thyroid problems, that's one of the things you must get, your salt with your iodine. There are other sources of iodine. Does anybody know another source of iodine? Kelp, the seaweeds. They actually sell some of these seaweeds in packets. Some people put it on their salads and so forth. But the kelp is one of the highest sources of the iodine. So make sure you can actually purchase the kelp and just shake it on your food as you're eating. You can actually use it in your food to make sure you're getting your amount. But on the other hand, there is something about the veggies. Iodine, do you know that okay, there is something I want to show you about certain foods. The cruciferous family, the cabbage, the broccoli, and in the Foods Encyclopedia. This is why we love this book. It's an encyclopedia of food. Any nutrient or so forth that you need, the encyclopedia shows you how to get it from the simplest form, which is the food. It's the Foods Encyclopedia. This whole cruciferous family has a chemical in there called goitrin. And as I was listing off the cabbage, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the kale, they all have the goitrin. The goitrin fights against the absorption of the iodine. The goitrin in that food fights against the absorption of the iodine. And the best way, that's why we are told, whenever we're eating those foods from that same cruciferous family, we should not eat them raw. Did you know we are told in, it's called coarse vegetables. We're told that coarse vegetables rob the body of proper nutriment. And this is the word Sister White used, nutriment instead of nourishment. But they do mean the same thing. Again, it's probably just a preference of the words used in her days versus our days. Okay? But we're told to tone down the goitering because we need the iodine. So when we eat the kelp, if we make some coleslaw raw, or we just chop up some kale, salad, eating it raw, it is actually ambushing us. It's taking away the iodine from us. And so we're not getting the iodine that we need. Always steam. You don't have to cook it to death, but please steam, heat these cruciferous vegetables before eating. So cabbage, kale, like we said again, cabbage, kale, the whole cruciferous, broccoli, cauliflower, please always steam it so that it does not rob us of our iodine that we need for thyroid. Okay? Now we're going to go straight into the remedies and how we can clean up some of these things that we may be doing. Eliminating all dairy products. These are things that increase inflammation again in our bodies. So if we're eliminating dairy products, we're decreasing inflammation. Again, anything that has a face or a mother has cholesterol and will increase the inflammation in our bodies. So eliminating that, those things are a good start. Eliminating fried foods. We know about the fried foods. We know why they're not good for us again. Once it's fried, once these oils are heated, they become trans. Is olive oil bad? Is olive oil bad? No, these oils truthfully are good. But the minute you heat them, they become bad. See? So that's why they fry. We had a little saying home growing up, the more you fry, the faster you die. That's something we said, the more you fry, the faster you die. The minute you heat the oil, it becomes trans fat. And that now works, counter major cause of increased inflammation in our bodies and increased rate of heart disease. So we have to eliminate fried foods. What can we do instead of frying? You like eating fries. Bake them. Have you ever baked some fries? Air fry. I'm hearing the air fry machine. But even without the air fry machine, do you know you could cut them up, even steam them a little bit, and then bake it? Put it in the oven, and it tastes good. We love fried plantains. But you know what? We have to make the plantains now. Because the fried food increases the inflammation and increases our risk of early death by high blood pressure or even just heart disease. So let us please eliminate ingestion of all kinds of oils. And we're talking about the extra oils. Now, if you already have defined heart problem, you don't want to have just be pouring on oil on over your plate on your food, making oil-based salads and so forth, the free oils. Because now your body has to use up now the bile salts, the cholesterol to make bile salts to break down the fat. So it's raising the cholesterol still in your body. So do not, if you already have heart problems, do not use oils freely, as that will increase the cholesterol. And increased cholesterol, increased inflammation, continue on again, keeping that high blood pressure going on. Because the inflammation makes the pressure build up. So anything that will increase inflammation will increase pressure. And we don't need more increased pressure. Eliminate sugar. You know that sugar again increases inflammation. Increase inflammation, increase pressure. So no sweets. Now we're not saying that honey, if you have a cold or a cough and you need to make the cold remedy we did last time, you won't use. You're using it in your medicine is different from just constantly indulging in sweets on a day-to-day basis. We said the hot peppers and all those things, they are stimulants. They do irritate your stomach lining and they do increase inflammation in your body. However, do you know that people who, like somebody may be having chest pain, they can be given some cayenne pepper under the tongue for that same chest pain, and it would help to disperse through, like the nitroglycerin patch that they will give you to dilate those blood vessels and ease the pain. As a medicine, that cayenne pepper is wonderful, but you don't want to use it every day to cook with, because when we have studies have shown this, brethren, if we use something every day, our body is so intelligent, it says, oh, I know you, I get you regularly, and so it gets used to you. This same cayenne pepper that you can use to save somebody's life with a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, if so much, because your body is used to having the heat, it's not even going to react when you take it now for a heart attack. So don't take these things and use daily. They are to be kept in your arsenal as your power foods in emergency. If you're always using them, they will not work for you the way they should, because your body has gotten used to them. Okay? I'm trying to get to more of okay. I'm trying to get to more of this as well. This is okay. Nicely prepared fruits and vegetables and fruits in their season will be beneficial if they are of the best quality, not showing the slightest sign of decay, but are sound and unaffected by any disease or decay. More die by eating decayed fruit and decayed vegetables which ferment in the stomach. So, you know how sometimes we go to the store and you buy some stuff, that avocado has a black spot on one side. What do we do with it?
Cut it off.
Chop it off and then make guacamole with the rest, right? No. The fact that that black spot is already there, those spores are already in that fruit. It's already in there. And so to cut it off and keep going, that fruit has already started to become tainted with the fungus or whatever the mold that's growing in there. So we are ingesting it now and putting it within ourselves. And that too, and this is straight from Councils of Diet and Food. More die by eating decayed fruit and vegetables which ferment in the stomach and result in blood poisoning than we have any idea of. Did any of you know about that before? That you should not eat it if there's any of those spots and so forth on it. You have to throw away the entire thing. I'm sorry? It's God's mercy. I know we grew up doing that. We bite off the piece, throw it away for eating a fruit, and get, keep going. Oh, it's Councils on Diets and Food. Page 309. Oh, he moved on. Where's the clicker? Go back. Yes. Councils on Diets and Food. And that's why I always try to share this one, because I know we grew up doing this. Just cutting off and keep going. The potato has a blackened part. Cut it off, throw that in the trash, keep peeling, keep cooking. And so we have to delve into these truths that we may, and it's simple things we may be doing to ambush our own lives, yes? Okay. Okay. Okay, overripe and spoiled fruit and vegetables. Let me see. Okay, tyramine foods. That's it. Tyramine foods. And I was skipping through some because I'm trying for time's sake to keep going, but you asked, so I had to go back to it. No. If you ask, we want to address it because this is real. Okay? Tyramine foods, aged, fermented, spoiled, these are foods that increase inflammation. And we're given the example here of the overripe avocados, the overripe bananas, the breadfruits. What I usually tell people is, if you realize you're not going to be able to use them before, because sometimes I lie. Sister Elizabeth, I've seen your hand up too. The baby's really talking to me. I freeze and I put it, I peel, put it in a bag and I put it in the freezer. So I can use again when I'm making banana nut bread or I'm putting it in a smoothie. So it's not sitting there and just deteriorating. Because as it decays, it pours noxious gases in the air too. So you're breathing that in and all that while you're even at home. It's just filling your air with it. I saw another hand. I saw Sister Elizabeth, but I saw another hand in the back. Okay.
Could you take a bite?
It's about the bananas. They say the bananas, when they have the dark spots, that's when it's very good to eat. And now this is showing about, spoiled food. So, which is which?
And I don't want you to confuse speckles and black spots. That's two different levels of banana. We're not talking about the cute little speckles, freckles on the banana. That's when let me see if there's a picture.
Yeah, there was, yes.
Okay, you have some freckles and then beyond this, the banana gets black. No, we're talking about way overripe. No, just having speckles on your banana though shows that the sugar content has gone up big time. So that's something else you have to consider too. But no, we're not just saying ripe, we're talking about overripened. Overripened, actual blackened spots, not just the freckles on the banana. Okay, the sister in the back.
I think when you go back, foods to avoid, I saw wheat. Why do we have to avoid wheat and gluten?
The gluten?
Wheat.
Okay, remember we had said that the wheat in there. Oh, so we have another. Okay, thank you. And somebody could keep the mic right so that whenever you ask, I can hear. Okay, the gluten, and that was earlier on. Right, the gluten in there causes the inflammation. And do you know the wheat that we have now is not the same wheat as in the Bible days? Do you know that? Did you know that? There are different types of wheat. However, wheat that we're seeing now, like wheat we're seeing now, wheat that we're seeing now is causing a lot of inflammation. Ancient wheat had about 16 chromosomes. Today's wheat has 42. Can anybody guess what's going on with the wheat?
No.
I'm sorry? That's why if you're going to do wheat now, you should look for ancient, that's what they call ancient grains and ancient wheat, to make sure the wheat in Jesus' days was ancient wheat, ancient grain. What we're having now, because of the modifications and all the stuff they're doing with the wheat, is causing inflammation. We did not have celiac disease. We didn't have intestinal permeability, leaky gut, and those things years ago. These are all new diseases coming out because of all this wheat stuff. In fact, I had a friend who thought she was dying because she had gluten sensitivity, and because it was probably almost 10 years ago, nobody knew what was wrong with her. Didn't even know what tests to do. They were just randomly doing stuff trying to find out what's wrong with this lady. And so these are some of what I call the last day diseases that are coming upon us, that are causing, the big thing is, it's causing inflammation in the body. And with the increase in inflammation, this is not only with high blood pressure, but you're seeing this. You're seeing the increased inflammation being for just about every disease. The root is inflammation. That you can use? Okay. The thing is, spelt has less. From what I've seen, I look for ancient wheat. It actually says ancient wheat on it. And I picked up a package just yesterday. If I had thought, I would have brought it for you to see. The Bob Mill brand. Amaranth. Kef. I'm sorry? I'm thinking anywhere that would sell the Bob Mill, like Sprouts, but I don't know if you have smaller health food stores in your area. But the big ones like Sprouts, okay, Sister Elizabeth is saying Kroger has a lot of the healthier ones too. The Bob Mill. She's saying Kroger has a lot of the Bob Mill available. I don't know your area here, so I'm not sure exactly what stores, but Sprouts would be one of those big ones that you can try and see. I saw my brother who did the constipation talk.
Yeah.
You had your hand.
My question was the same thing.
Oh, some suggestions. Okay. Okay. Red raspberry. We carry some of those things that we had with us. However, the stores may have them again. Sprouts, health food stores may have them in tea bag form. Tea bag form is what I have seen it. I've been able to see it. Yeah. But we do have some here available, you know, after Sabbath. But we do have some because the red raspberry is something as well very important. Was that another? Oh, I'm just doing I'm going forward. The grapefruit. You always hear about grapefruit. Another natural control. Grapefruit is excellent to lower your blood pressure. But if you're already taking a medication to lower your blood pressure, you can get a double whammy instead. Because the grapefruit will lower it and your medication will come and lower. And you can also have pooling of the medication in your body. Grapefruit is excellent. My mom was on no medication. Whenever she felt like her blood pressure was up, she would eat. We had a grapefruit tree. She would send us to go pick one. And that's what she used, but she was on meds. If you're eating grapefruit and taking medication, the grapefruit is lowering it, then your pill lowers it even more. You can't pass out. You can't bottom out. Okay, so that's why most times, if not all the times, you see this big warning sign. If you're on blood pressure medication, don't use grapefruit. Is that correct? You've seen it if you're on medication or you've been told not to use grapefruit. Excess salt intake, and like Michael said, the right salt, and we don't want to do excess. I'm just pulling out some of the things we didn't talk about. Using the lemon. If you're working with high cholesterol, you want to use the lemon water first thing upon rising. If it's just you don't have high blood pressure, half a lemon to a cup of water in the morning. If you actually have high cholesterol with your high blood pressure, then you want to use the juice of a whole lemon to 1 cup of water. The lemon helps to clear out the plaque buildup in your arterial wall. And if the plaque is eaten out away and broken down, it stimulates the liver and helps it to flush every morning all the bile that is collected. I'm seeing another hand. If you're breastfeeding. Okay. With breastfeeding, because your baby gets, now lemon by itself is not harmful. But anything that might have a cleansing, detoxing effect, I always caution, because if you're pregnant, you don't want to bring any toxins out into your bloodstream and you have another person within you. With breastfeeding, I would caution you too. Lemon itself, because I don't know how it would impact your body, but it does have a cleansing effect. Okay? Some people in the morning, immediately they take their lemon. Some people would say it will send them to the toilet. They will have a bowel movement, which is good. But it shows that it does stimulate that movement and cleansing. So for pregnant, breastfeeding, I would give you the same caution that your doctor would give you caution. You know, probably wait till your baby is older or you've done with your breastfeeding. It's the mic again.
The question is being raised. How about people with ulcers, stomach ulcers? You know, it's acidic. So, what is your take?
The good thing with lemon, it's acidic where it needs to be a neutral and basic alkaline inside the body. Citrus have that effect. They may be acidic on the outside to the taste and knowing that it has the acid in it, but in the body they are not acidic. Okay? In the body they are not acidic, they are alkaline. So it's not that it will burn you thinking of lemon, so you're thinking burn. Once it's in the body, citrus fruits have an alkalining effect. And that's something you can Google, just so you know, you don't have to believe, just believe. But I want you to, know that in the body, it's alkaline. So it will not have that effect. However, I want to tell you, when you're drinking your lemon water in the morning, use a straw. That same acid can corrode the enamel in your teeth, on your teeth. So always drink it through a straw. And give it to your little ones too. Our entire family does it, even with the kids. The vitamin C is in there. It will help to boost their immune system as well. Now, foods to increase. Yes, some diuretic fresh fruits and vegetables. Do you know parsley? If you're having swelling, do you know that you can use the parsley, a fresh bunch of parsley at Sprouts or the grocery store? Use the parsley, wash the bunch of parsley, and put in 4 cups of water and let it boil. Once the water is boiled, you can put the bunch of parsley in the water, take it off the heat, and just cover it, let it steep or let it draw. It's just a light, a very weak extract. The water will extract all the minerals from the parsley. I have 2 friends I know personally who use parsley instead of the water pill. And she told me, do you know that parsley had me running to the bathroom? She was shocked. It had a similar effect to the water pill. Parsley is a natural, is a food diuretic. So if you are having swelling, you're not on water pill or anything, use parsley. Try it and see. Plus, all the other nutrients in the parsley help to rebuild and heal your kidney, urinary system, your urinary system. Most health formulas that cleanse the kidney have parsley in it. Okay? So I do want you to try that parsley. How are we going to make it? We're going to make a tea. And we're going to 4 cups of water to boil, turn it off, wash up your parsley, the bunch, put it in, put the lid on it, move it off the heat. We don't want to boil the parsley. We don't want to kill it. We just want to naturally extract the properties of the parsley in the water. Use that water throughout your day as your water. Don't sweeten it. Okay? And the way you're going to drink it is in a couple sips at a time, like Michael was illustrating with the dry plant. Your body can use about 2 ounces of water within an hour and use it up. If you do it, so when you gulp down that whole 16 ounces, you know you're going to be running to the bathroom for a little bit. We do want to encourage you to cut off drinking your water before about 2 hours before bed. Too many people are trying to do their water, but then they're up all night, running to the bathroom all night. Remember, sleep was a factor in keeping your blood pressure high. So we want you to sleep. So throughout the day, you're going to drink your water. 2 hours before bed, shut it off. And now, let the body just filter out the rest of the water. Before bed, if you're really, really thirsty during that time, just take a couple sips. But do not consume glasses of water just before bed. We need you to sleep. You must sleep. Okay? Carrots have over 8 compounds that lower your blood pressure. Carrots. So it's a wonderful, whether you're going to juice, but having it with carrots again, vegetable, is better steamed. Remember that. I know we love to grate our carrots and add it. It looks pretty on the salad. Again, I had to relearn. I was like, what? I can't grate my carrots and just steam. We are learning that all these things, eaten raw, rob our thyroid of iodine. And so we don't want to do that. Almonds, nuts, and grains. Almonds have the nitric oxide that acts like the nitroglycerin patch in a heart attack. And so we want you to keep almonds in your diet. A closed fist of nuts at the end of your meal to make you full and hold you longer will help. I'm skipping through some again.
Question.
Question?
How many almonds can you eat a day? 8.
How many almonds can you eat?
A day.
A day. Well, I do want you to rotate your nuts, even your nuts. So we do a closed fist handful of nuts at the end of our meal. But my daughter's handful is different to my handful, different from my husband's handful. But it's a closed fist. It's not closed like this. Because you know how we love nuts and we just can't eat a little. We want a closed fist of nuts, and it's everybody's size. So even your little ones, their handful may only hold about 4 or 5. But it's still, remember, it's tailor-made to what their body needs. Okay? But at your next meal, eat a different nut. We don't want to eat the same thing every day. As we eat the different types of fruits, grains, nuts, vegetables, we will gain all the minerals that our bodies need. Yeah. Eating the same thing is not helpful.
Yeah, somebody told me you can eat 7 at a time, and somebody has told me you can eat 13.
Okay, I have never heard a number. The only nut I think I've heard a number was the Brazil nuts, where you eat about 4, because it's so high in the selenium that excess is not, again, moderation. So that one, but I've not heard for like almond or pecans, or I truly cannot talk to that because I really have not heard. I've always heard about the closed. Even when I went to Uchee Pines or Wildwood, they also go by the closed fist. So I'm not sure. She did say a handful. And you notice the nuts come in a hard shell, so we can't eat a whole bag of it. But you know how you buy a pack of peanuts and you can't just eat half of the pack? You have to finish it. So nuts are so high in fat. If you do have heart problems, you don't want to eat a lot of nuts, okay? Even avocado, if you have a lot of size on you and you're trying to lose weight, you don't want to do an avocado at every meal. Because again, it has good fats. You still don't want to do all that. The lecithin The lecithin granules, I think, was one we shared the last time. And I think I have the lecithin. Can you pass it around? This is the liquid lecithin. It is known to clean out plaque from your body. You have, anybody with high blood pressure, cholesterol, should have lecithin. It comes in the liquid form or the granule form. I use the liquid form to make my homemade butter, but the granule I use it when I'm making sauces and gravies and so forth. But this you can use any one, 1 to 2 tablespoons daily. If you have high cholesterol, you do want to make sure you have lecithin. L-arginine, and these are some natural blood vessel relaxers. The almond, as we mentioned before, peas, sunflower seed. You see the pumpkin seeds there? Make sure. Pumpkin seed is another powerful one, especially on men and prostate health. Pumpkin, men, where are the men? Men, okay. When you leave at sundown, get pumpkin seed. It is that urgent. Any man needs to be using pumpkin seed. Ladies, if you are here and your husband aren't here, pick him up some pumpkin seed. It is there. Prostate health. That's what I was saying, for prostate health. So that's why I'm like, the men especially with that. But pumpkin seed, we all can eat pumpkin seed. But especially where we're seeing so many men being struck down in their youth with prostate cancer, we want to make sure our men are covered. Oh yes, you just eat it just like that. Make sure it's fresh, it's not roasted or salted. Sprouts has it, and you may see it called pepitas. Pepita. So if you look for pumpkin seed, you may find it in the white hull. That's so much work to break the hull and take it off. Just look for the pepitas, just like the picture is. Or you can Google it, you will see it so you can see it better. But everybody, pepitas help to relax our blood vessels. And that's for everybody, not only the men. But it has a special kick for the men with prostate, with their prostate health. Okay. And I'm just showing some more of the foods that are good for us, the blood pressure people. Okay, I think we had gone through that one, Maya. You can keep going. Did I have a question? Somebody say a question? Okay. Okay, flaxseed. Flaxseed. You have to have, again, the flaxseed is another blood thinner. Remember Michael told you about the free blood thinner, which is water. Another good blood thinner is flaxseed. You don't want to buy the flax meal. Don't buy the meal. Buy the flaxseed. And whenever you're ready to use it, I have bought a little coffee grinder. I picked it up in a yard sale, probably $2. Coffee grinder, but even Walmart has them. And you grind what you need. You don't want to buy the pack that is already ground because most of the nutrients have been oxidized out of it. So keep the whole seed. When you need it, blend it up in the grinder and then use it. Ladies, we need 2 to 3 tablespoons daily. Men, 2. And it's just because of all the hormones, we may need a little more. The men, 2. But across the board, if you're not going to remember, at least 2. Again, we're looking for things to help you to cause your blood vessels to relax, keep the blood thin and moving. So the first one you're going to do to thin your blood is water. You have to start doing your water. The next one is flaxseed. Now, if you are on blood thinners already, you're going to need to work along with your doctor. We don't want you to add the flaxseed to your warfarin, your cumin, whatever you're doing already. We need for you to let them know that you would like to try something more natural. And usually, I have not had a doctor who didn't want to help you get off the medicine if you wanted to. They may not believe that diet can do it, but you're the patient. Most times, they would respect you and at least let you like to do, have that talk with your doctor and let them know. Now, you don't need to ask your doctor if it's okay to drink more water, correct? Do you have to ask your doctor if it will be a problem if you have more sleep? No. Do you think your doctor needs you need your doctor's approval to know that you're walking a little more in your neighborhood? No. So those are things you can do right away. The flaxseed, if you know you're on blood thinner, it will have you too thin, and in any emergency, bruising or otherwise, you can bleed out. We don't want you to make changes just rashly. We want you to work along. Let them know you want to try so they can lower your blood thinner medication and give you a chance to use something natural that hopefully over time you can drop the medication completely and just keep doing. But do you know, brethren, even though this is natural, the aim is in the blood, once you've achieved that, to stop using even this. This is not something to use for the rest of your life. This is to help correct the problem, and then you go forward. Now, drinking the water would be enough to keep it in. Okay? The blackstrap molasses we spoke about, but I want you to know how much. 2 tablespoons daily if you are not diabetic. Some studies show that even the type 2 diabetics took it. Sister Hilton had given a testimony about using this in her, she became diabetic type 2, and she used this in her regimen to reverse that condition. The last she had a clean bill, Sister Hilton. Praise the Lord. So it is doable. Believe in God's ways. It is doable. Sesame seeds. You've seen them on Chinese food sprinkled on the top, right? Sesame seeds rich in calcium, iron, and zinc. Sesame seed is another powerful food that you can use now to help with muscle contractility, the calcium and the magnesium. Okay, the calcium and magnesium. Sesame seed, you can toast it and sprinkle on your food, or you can make a milk with it. Do you remember when we did the milk last time? Same thing, or even as tahini, where you mash it, you blend it, and make it almost like a butter, and in your food processor. But you could make sesame seed milk and use it in your cereal. Just mixing it up, using the same foods and mixing it up. If you're cooking something, use the blackstrap molasses to sweeten. So you may not take that 2 tablespoons that day. You may have used it on your waffles or your pancakes or something. Type 1. That's why I clarified to say the type 2s I have seen using. But we always leave the caution for type 1 unless we are right there with you managing. Because I'm not sure where people are, if they're taking insulin, and some people are more compliant than others. I'm not sure if they're checking their blood sugar readings and so forth. But type 2 diabetes, I have known to use this with no problem. Okay? Green leafy vegetables are another wonderful source, loaded with tons of trace minerals. So I know you're cooked with a lot of green leafy, right? A lot of collard greens and mustard greens and so forth. Spinach, kale, those are wholesome. Again, just don't eat them raw so that they don't rob us of the iodine. So we're going to use lifestyle now. We need at least, and you've all heard this, this is the part that you all need to start getting in. 1 hour of continual walking daily. Now, if you are heavy, too heavy to walk continuously for an hour, whatever you can do, begin to do. If all you could do is walk from here to there, and I'm getting a lot of feedback. If all you can do for now is walk from here to right there, do it. Even if it takes you 20 minutes. Because I had a lady, she was so obese. It took her just to walk from here to right there. You would not believe how many times she had to stop. To to pick her foot up was like the biggest task. And so she could only walk from here to there, and then we had to put a chair for her to just catch her breath, and then we'll walk back. We did that for about 2 weeks, just this. And she was so excited, she cried. People are in bad shape. You have to meet them where they are and help them. So when the day now, by the third week, she could get to beyond the pot. That was a day of rejoicing. So you are already ahead. You can walk that easily. So challenge yourself to do a little more. When we do this, we are building up the extra. All the extra that we have gathered helps to be through exercise. Going to bed before 10 p.m. Remember I told you, anything after 10 increases inflammation. So we're going to walk and we're going to go to bed earlier. Studies show, and I know some of you may be studying, but studies show, and Sister Light gave us in the council, that an hour of sleep before midnight is worth more than sleep after midnight. So if you need to study, you get into bed as early as you can before midnight. And if you went to bed 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12, that is equivalent to over 6 hours of sleep. So even if you slept from 9 to 2, 10, 11, 12, that's 6, 1, 2. Your body feels as if it has had 8 hours sleep. And I was so shocked. I felt like I wasted, slept bad and all this through college, because if I had known that, I could have really maximized my sleep and still be able to get up. We have a lady at my church there in DeSoto that we had attended. She went to bed at 7 every night, and she was up at 2 in the morning. I guess her day started early or whatever else she had to do. But that lady was as vibrant as ever. Because when she told me how early she went to bed, so I said, so what time do you get up? She said, well, I'm up by 2 every morning to get my devotions and this and that. She's going to bed at 7. So how much sleep is this lady getting by 2? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We said that an hour of sleep before midnight is equivalent to over 2 hours after. So just from her going to bed until midnight, that was 10 hours sleep that her body had enjoyed. I was like, no wonder, and I need to find that for you because it is in the spirit of prophecy. It is given. And that's counsel for the students so that we know how to live without sacrificing our lives and not bringing on disease. If you have to study, get in the bed early and then wake up. And you will be surprised that you will be up and you're not dozing at 10 or 11 in the morning. You will be vibrant. Maybe the first day you're not used to it, but as it becomes a habit for you, your body will start showing you, or you will start reaping the rewards. Getting adequate sunlight. How are we supposed to do this while at work? Well, some of our colleagues take smoke breaks. We don't smoke, but we get a break too. So during the day, walk outside, take a walk, enjoy the sunlight. We who are darker skinned individuals, we actually need more sun than people who are lighter skinned. We who are darker need 45 minutes to an hour and a half of sunlight daily. Lighter skinned people, Caucasians, and some of the other races who are fairer skinned, they can get by with as little as 7.5 to 30 minutes of sunlight daily. Okay, it's right here. Sunlight exposure also produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what keeps the blood vessels relaxed, dilated, and decreases the blood pressure. People sit, and this is a study by the Edinburgh University researchers that prove that the sunlight exposure helped to produce the nitric oxide, which relaxes the blood vessels and drops the pressure. Sleep is important because it lowers blood pressure. We spoke about the sun, the cortisol levels, that fight or fight. When you see something scary, automatically your heart starts beating. You're getting ready to run. It's okay to have cortisol levels elevated when you need to run. You need your body to be ready to run. But it's not okay for your body to be elevated, having elevated cortisol levels for long periods. Do you need to be in that kind of stress 24/7 every day? No, you're not running from something or fighting every single day. So when our bodies, some people's cortisol levels remain elevated, and that causes the inflammation again in the arteries. The serotonin is produced in the morning and changes to melatonin. And changes to melatonin in the evening. Melatonin gives restful sleep. And I don't know if you've seen before that they actually sell melatonin in the store. Have you seen that? I've had parents tell me they give their kids melatonin to go to bed. Do you know if they have enough sun exposure, it would actually reset their sleep-wake cycle and they won't need melatonin to go to bed. However, if we're eating at 6:30 p.m. or later and then going to bed at 9, we're told that we should go to bed. The food digest takes about 2 to 4 hours. We need to make sure that the gut is cleared of food before lying down. So if we are eating too late at night, they're going to lay down, we're going to be in trouble. The food is going to sit there and ferment. Your body is trying to break down food while your body is trying to shut down and make you rest and repair. And that's why sometimes we wake up feeling as tired as when we lay down. Okay? Okay. The best form of exercising is walking. We recommend that we walk at least, like we said, 30 to 60 minutes daily. I know some people run, and they say, well, what's wrong with running? Sister White told us in Counsels on Health, page 200, that the best form of exercise is walking. Next to that, she approves of gardening, and she has even mentioned swimming, but walking. Over time, people who jog, run, can develop jogger's heart, where their hearts become enlarged. So again, if God told the prophetess to let us know that walking is the best way, what should we do? Walk. Okay. Okay. Importance of water. And we spoke about water, so I'm not going to beat it to death. Michael did a wonderful job illustrating water and our need for water. Intemperance, overeating, oversleeping, and yes, we can oversleep, overworking, and stress can elevate blood pressure. Exposing the extremities to cold weather causes congestion of blood to the heart, lungs, and brains. Now, if your arms are out, okay, your arms are exposed or your legs are exposed, does your body have the same temperature throughout? No. The areas that are cold cause the blood to shunt in to the cold. That's why studies have been showing now that especially us ladies, and some of us, we know we just, we dress how we dress, and we didn't know that have you ever thought that the way you dress can impact your blood pressure? Some people said yes, but some are like, no, I didn't think about it. us ladies, that's why now we're seeing a whole lot of rise in all these feminine diseases. And it's all the congestion that's starting to cause the fibroids, even the urinary stuff. We're just seeing a lot of anything in our core, in our center now. Because of the congestion, we're seeing disease being manifested, trying to tell us, hey, remember, disease is an effort of nature. The fibroids is an effort of nature, telling you that something's too much blood in the area. Because based on the extremities we bear, we have too much in here. So we have to be mindful how we dress. Garlanase is another herbal remedy. Wonderful. And again, check your health food stores. I'm not sure about Sprouts and so forth. We do have Garlanase as well. And you're seeing it there going 2 tablets twice a day. We learned the last time that garlic also is a blood thinner. It also helps with inflammation. So if you're on medication and you're taking these things, start expecting it works quickly, brethren. If you start walking, start drinking water, going to bed on time, your high blood pressure may be gone so fast you don't even realize how quick it went. And that's what we want. God says He will cause none of these diseases to come upon us. 1 clove of garlic reduces heart attacks by 18%. 18%. And so that Garlanase, again, caution again, if you're going to use Garlanase with what you're already using, you may have to start reducing the medication because these things will work. Okay? So just cautioning you on that. Onion, 1 bulb daily prevents blood clots. Willow, I don't know if you know that. How many of you know the willow tree is nature's aspirin? Have you seen the willow tree? Some people probably have willow trees in their yard. I need you to Google willow tree. Once you're done, Google the willow tree. It's actually a natural aspirin. This is probably one of the crude sources of aspirin. And you know, again, aspirin is used to thin the blood. But again, look up on WebMD. Aspirin has a ton of side effects. And aspirin is also known to cause inflammation. So beware, beware, beware. Evening primrose. Using, well, with the flaxseed, you're going to get some of the same GLA used within the evening primrose and preventing, again, blood clots. All these things help to thin the blood. That's what they're doing. So the thing is, brethren, based on these things, we see that one of the main causes of your high blood pressure is inflammation and thick blood. Notice all these things are targeting thinning the blood. If your blood is thin, if you drink enough water, if you're in the sun helps to open up your blood vessels, drop the blood pressure. You would not need some of this other stuff. So again, be on the lookout. These things work big. Okay? The vitamin D. This is the source of D I was telling you all about. The vitamin D here is what I was saying. The body converts using the sunlight to convert and make vitamin D in your bodies. Vitamin D, we have a receptor in our bodies for the sun. And what the sun does again is convert the cholesterol to vitamin D. Vitamin D, if it is not at a high enough level, we will not be able to absorb calcium and some of the other minerals that are depending on our vitamin D. Vitamin D has over 200 functions in our bodies. We have to make sure you do your vitamin D test. When you go to the doctor, ask about the vitamin D test to make sure you have adequate levels of vitamin D. Maya, go on. Bay leaf is another one. Bay leaf, 7 leaves steep for 3 hours in 4 cups of water daily. And again, unsweetened, use it as your water. So you could use the bay leaf, you could use parsley, rotate them as needed throughout your day. Okay. Hawthorn berry is another herb that's good for your heart. Hawthorn berries, and again, health food stores, the only. You couldn't find it? Oh, wow. Oh, you saw it at Walmart? Okay, she saw it at Walmart. Nature's Way? Okay, so she said Walmart, but I know my health food store usually does a good job. Wow, looking for it. But this is so good. It really helps with ejection fraction. People who are in heart failure mode, hawthorn berry has been proven to rebuild heart muscle. And again, you need the heart muscle. You need it to be strong. Exercise strengthens your heart muscle to help with how it beats and pushes the blood throughout your body. Bilberry is another good herb. Oh, and this one, ashwagandha. It is not only going to work for your blood pressure, ashwagandha will work for anything within your body. The good thing about the herbs are, God gave the herbs for the service of man. And so whatever needs your body has within your body, these same herbs may work differently. You may have plaque and so forth build up. These herbs will go in and work on that. I may not have the plaque, but I have inflammation. It'll go in and work on my inflammation. It works on whatever needs the body has. So these herbs again have been proven to work, especially that hawthorn berry. If you have valvular insufficiency, any heart problem, hawthorn berry has been known to work on, to heal and rebuild the heart. Linden tea. This is something I found in Fiesta. Linden tea, excellent for high blood pressure. Even hibiscus tea is another one good for high blood pressure. And we spoke about the kelp, or the dose is another form of getting the kelp and sprinkling a teaspoon over your food daily. Continuing to use the pink Himalayan salt daily, and the corn silk. I have known of people, you know, the hair silk. I have known of people who were on dialysis, and so you know this is end stage renal failure, that have used corn silk and reversed, gotten off of dialysis, brethren. These things are not because they're natural. Don't look at them lightly. They are powerful. Corn silk is the hair of the corn. Now I would encourage you to get organic corn if you're going to use the hair, because corn again is highly modified. It's like the second highly GMO crop. So please get organic or just buy the corn silk capsule. Again, I know Sprouts has corn silk capsule. This also works great for swelling. So if you're somebody who swells, you're noticing swelling and so forth. So we said parsley was excellent for swelling. Corn silk is also excellent for swelling. Okay? All right. Always remember when you're making your teas, the hard parts of the plant, you actually boil them. You can put them in the water and let them boil up. But the softer, delicate parts, you just steep. You take the hot water off the fire and put them in. Like the leaves, like a red raspberry leaf, you're not going to put that in the pot and boil it. The olive leaf, you're not going to boil that. You just steep. But like the root, licorice root, and these are the roots and harder parts of the plant, you're actually going to boil for some time in the water. So that's just a little tip on how to use things as you find them. Okay, hydrotherapy. You can actually, people who have blood pressure that's in the 200s, where it's super high, you can actually get a basin of water and submerge them, your arms in the basin, covering the elbow area, and then gradually increasing the heat. Gradually, but using the arms. Also, when blood pressure is greater than 190, we always like to put a cool cloth over the kidney area to prevent the collapse. Okay? We definitely want to protect the kidneys from those extreme high temperatures. Okay? If you're going to use a hot, keep a cool cloth on your forehead. Put your hands, both elbows in the basin, warm water, and then you can gradually increase the heat a little bit, about 20 minutes time, and the blood pressure should be decreased. Also at that time, you want to increase drinking your water. Okay? This is just a pledge, a promise that we do. Oh, okay. Promise that we do. Now that you've learned so many things, and now that you've learned so many things, we want you to think about it. Everything you're going to think about this. Does this have a face or a mother? It has increased cholesterol. The more you fry, the faster you die. So we know the McDonald's fries, we have to let it go. It is not worth it. We want to make sure that we get this under control. We want to stop the inflammation so that we can get this blood pressure down. I solemnly promise before God to abstain from tobacco, and this is our temperance pledge, spirituous liquors, snuff, tea, coffee, flesh meats, butter, spices, rich cakes, mince pies, a large amount of salt and animal fat of all kinds, baking powder, soda, and do you know baking soda and baking powder increase inflammation? Did you know that too? Again, it's in the spirit of prophecy. So this pledge is just asking us, some things you can do right away. Some things you know with prayer and God's guiding, little by little, you want to start doing or decreasing. God is able to bless abundantly. Healing comes from God. Healing comes from God. And He says that if we are willing to do what He has asked to do, He will cause none of these diseases to come upon us. Is there any more questions from anybody? Okay. So remember, as you wake up, start your lemon water. Keep drinking throughout the day. Stop 2 hours before bedtime. Get your lecithin. If you have cholesterol, you want to hit the lecithin right away. Add pumpkin seed to your diet. Add sunflower seeds to your diet. Add almonds especially to your diet so that you keep your blood vessels dilated to help with the blood pressure. Walk. Get out into the sunshine. Sleep before 10 o'clock at night. And sit back and watch the glory of God and see God heal you from these diseases. Thank you.